Hey everyone, welcome back to the NF Method podcast. I'm your host, Steph, aka Nutritional Freak. You guys should know the drill by now. This is probably going to be episode 10, I think. Got a monster on me, as we should. We're going to get this show on the road. So, one of these guys I've actually have met at the Underground Strength Con that we hosted back in November at Varsity House. And we have had conversations in the past back and forth, but we've never actually solidified having a full-blown conversation, let alone coming onto the podcast. And I'm really excited for you guys to get to know him, as well as I will be getting to know him with you and just going through the ropes, kind of what he does. He's obviously a strength and conditioning coach as well. He has his own business, and I'm looking forward to hearing plenty of more things about him. So without further ado, here's Brennan. This is probably the first full real conversation we've ever had.
Yeah, it was brief at Underground Strength Con.
Yeah.
So thanks for having me on, though. I was super fired up when I saw you start this. I was like, oh, this is going to be sweet.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to give you like a platform to speak on kind of what you do, and then figure out if there's something that we can kind of touch base on, a topic, or just kind of run on and have a conversation. I kind of said it in my intro too. This is more or less everybody else getting to know you, but it's also me getting to know you too, because we never really had like a full blown like 45-minute conversation. So this will kind of be the first time. So
yeah,
the floor is yours. You can introduce yourself, talk about your gym, and then we could kind of just bounce off of each other.
Yeah, so Brennan Fleming from upstate New York, from this small town called Mechanicville, and then so played football, did track and fields, and then I got into like fitness, strength and conditioning. I'd say like not very early, but right after my freshman year, I realized I was a $175 playing, and my coach got me into the training, and I got to 225 for the next year, and I noticed the difference pretty fantastically. So it was good. And then I always said like I'm lucky of knowing what I wanted to do. So senior year came and I still want to keep playing ball, and my coach like, what do you want to do for like major and things like that? I said I wanted something like this in terms of training. And he's like, well, he's a Springfield alum, and it kind of was just a no-brainer. Tried science. I was there 4 years, and then did a couple internships along the way. Summer going to senior year, I went to UAlbany. It's close by for home, so I could just commute. Or with basketball, football. Senior year came, and then spring of that year, I went to Army West Point, and I interned with football primarily. I was first getting into it, I was like, I wanted to just do football. Like football is near and dear to my heart, playing it. So it was just kind of like natural way. But Army, graduated from Springfield, and I went to Merrimack College over in Andover, Mass for grad school, which is an accelerated program, phenomenal program. It's definitely different now for the better, but so it was a lot of work. They assigned you X amount of teams, whether they're like primary teams. I had developmental football, women's tennis, and then I secondhand helped with field hockey, women's soccer. I tried to work with as many people as I could. Sports that I was never really exposed to. And even in my hometown, like we didn't have lacrosse, we didn't have a field hockey team. So like when I went to Springfield, I saw these sports that I didn't even know what they were. So now working with them training wise, it was all the culture differences between programs. It really expanded my mind and it changed my way of thinking of football I love, but also I want to work with other people and other athletes. And like I believe it helped me become a better coach, better programmer, better communicator, things along those lines. So, and then went to Merrimack, COVID hit. So I graduated in 2020 and everyone went through COVID. I go through COVID. I worked at a private gym in New York just to kind of stay in the game a little bit while that stuff was going on. And then I got a job at St. Anselm over in Manchester, New Hampshire. So I was there for a couple years. My first year as an assistant, and then my second year as the director. And then I moved on from there, and I went to University of Rhode Island for a year. So St. Anselm, I was with from women's bowling to men's lacrosse, men's ice, football, all those types of things, and was starting to experience some like burnout. Staff wasn't very big, and it was I just needed to kind of change things. It was personal life. I still wanted to do things, but I was I'm all for the grind and the hustle, but at the same time, there's things I want to do in life outside of that. And then URI, a spot opens, and actually my boss then, he's a mentor to me now. He was my supervisor at Merrimack. So
Oh,
kind of a full, Coach Scott Leach. He's phenomenal. Anyone listening, like follow his stuff on social media. He's a great guy, provides great things. And I was there for a year, and then went through some personal stuff. I was in Mass for a little bit, and then I wanted my own spot. So I decided to come back home. My family was, and I always wanted to have my own spot at some point in my career. Didn't think it would be this early on, but so I came back home, and then never really had like a break. I left URI, came home, and I have to look for a spot and things like that. So it was just always on the go since then. We found a spot. Thankfully, that was a good, small spot. I wanted to start small and grow slow type thing. And so opened October, and then we'll be coming up on the 1-year anniversary here in a couple months. So time's flying. So yeah, but it's been very fun. It's natural stress of learning a lot of business things, and also going to Underground Strength Con was like meeting all of you and hearing all these, like, that was such a game changer for me. I was volunteering at a high school just to like kind of show my face. I went back to my alma mater and things like that, just to get my face out there. And then Dan reached out to me, told me about the weekend, about Strength Con, and got me there and so on and so forth. And took away so much from that, and it really helped me just business wise, and still learning things, obviously, always will, but so it's been good so far. I work with a couple high schools, football and lacrosse, so just kind of trying to give back to the community that helped me so much. That was the biggest thing for me. And the plus, I'm with my family again. It's close by, so it's like New England between school and work for about 8 years or so. So I was definitely ready to come back home. But but rambled. But that's the.
No, I love that. That makes my life easier to get an idea. But I had no idea you were only in it for like a year for your own business. I had no idea. I thought you were like longer than that.
Yeah.
So
like a baby.
Yeah, I know. But we're the same age too. I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I'll be 29 in December. So
a couple years older than me, but I'm like there, like right there.
I still think I'm like 25.
But. Yeah, we graduated the same year. I graduated during COVID too. That was not fun.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I experienced the online classes for just like for one semester, and I was like, I feel for the kids have had to do it for year plus or whatever it is. That's definitely hard. I mean, you can see kind of like the result in ways.
Yeah.
But
that my brother is 21. So when I graduated, I was only a semester in college too, like left before I had to obviously graduate. And it was funny because I said, I don't think I could ever do this longer than like one semester. It was just, there's no touch point. There's no like engagement or interaction with people. And my brother did it for like basically the remainder of high school, and then went into college before everything started getting back to normal again, which is kind of crazy because now he comes home and he's like, I don't really learn that much. Like I kind of just study on my own, do my thing, and then I leave. Like I don't really interact with a lot of people in school. When like I was in college, I was trying my best to make friends within the same group of people that I was constantly seeing on a day-to-day basis, trying to get different ideas from different people, in the nutrition world, because that's where I started. And then I started getting into the coaching side of it. But at first it was just nutrition because I didn't know where I wanted to be. And everybody had like something that they wanted to do. It was either going into the hospitals or going into sports, which is kind of what I wanted to do at first. And then this internship for the gym that I'm working, obviously Varsity House, it kind of fell in my lap during COVID. And Joe interviewed me on Zoom for 2 hours, which was like the most stressful thing ever. I'm just sitting there like 2 hours of this man talking to me. I don't even know if I got the job. And he was like, okay, like, can you start in June? I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem.
Oh my goodness.
And I had a really bad experience working at another like big box gym. So I didn't know what to expect to get into it, because working in a big box gym, it's totally different than a private gym. Like it's not even comparable. You don't know anybody that you're coming across. Everybody's rude. Everybody's just kind of minding their own business. They don't really want any part of personal training unless they're really seeking it out. So, I don't know if you ever really had like an experience like that where it was kind of like, I don't know if I really want to do it. I don't know if this is for me, because I've experienced burnout like probably 3 times in my life. I kind of just kept pushing on. But what was it like for you in that way?
in terms of like a bad experience almost or something like that. It was, burnout was like the big thing. Just more like one job I had, it was experiencing that. It was starting to take away my love for what I do.
Yeah.
And that was it. The hard part was it was my first time doing it, of leaving on my own terms, of, it's just, I can't do this. Like, it's just like, I'm kind of, and I felt bad for the kids. Like they were all great, but it was more so of like for my own well-being. Like that was the hard, like rocking a hard place type thing. Like I want to stay because I want to help them. But at what point am I just kind of burning myself into the ground further and further? And then it's just am I going to drive myself out of the field? Obviously it's my own choice, and I decided to make the change and things like that. So that was definitely a very hard experience. And then I got thankfully put into a better situation to where I believe like collegiate strength and conditioning should be. It was like URI was phenomenal. It was, get your work done and go live your life outside of it. Make sure you take care of things here and that type of thing. So it was like I always said that, from even when I would go visit there to see my mentor and things like that, and the way he would do things, like to me, it was like, this is how it should be. It doesn't have to be 12+ hour days on ends. Like, you have to do those things sometimes, but also like work and you go do things you want to enjoy outside of the realm of what we do every single day that we love and that type of thing. So, but I'd say like that was probably like the burnout. Experiencing burnout like more than once. The other times were like on my own,
Yeah.
choosing, and then I kind of learned the hard way. But it was an eye opener of just kind of I feel like I developed of making that hard decision and that type of thing. And, life moves on. So you just kind of got to do it. And then the gym now like is its own beast of
Right.
stressful, yes, but also like its own, like, if I don't do it, nothing gets done. So like that's a good motivator, but also like there are still the hard days and that type of thing, to where, and I'm thankful to be at the point where I have some help in there with me, kind of take things off my plate, because then do all the training and programming, but all like I can't let business side of things kind of slide through the cracks, and then that's where things just get worse and worse, type thing. So I'd say that was probably like one experience for sure.
Yeah, I mean yeah. I think the one job was working 70 hours a week and on top of going to school, and that was, I think I had like 3 or 4 energy drinks a day, and I was not coherent. I was kind of moving and not really worrying about what was going on the outside, and I somehow made time to work out too in the middle of all that, which is crazy to look back on, because I was definitely not in a good place mentally, which not really anybody really talks about in like our field too, is like the mental health side of it, and trying to please a lot of the people that you see on a daily basis, going into trying to actually fill your own cup, as Dan loves to say that word all the time, but filling your own cup. I have a tendency to not do that sometimes, so it gets a little tricky. You're trying to give service to all these people that are coming to see you on a day-to-day basis, and then trying to find a way to give it back to yourself has been kind of tough on my end as well. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's just, it comes down to managing better, I think, for everybody that's in the field too. It's, what is going to make you feel good, so that way you're better at your job. It's, at the end of the day, it is a job. As we get lucky that it's our own. We're not, walking around in suits and ties or anything. We're, I'm wearing sweats and a t-shirt going to work every day. I don't have to stress about like, oh shit, I'm like running late, I have to change and I have to do all this stuff. So I feel like we're pretty fortunate in that side of it. And, for you and your gym, what has been, positive, and what's been negative since like you just opened it? Obviously it's been like a year. Like, what have you seen that has like grown in yourself, and what is like something that you still need to work on?
Need to work out more is just, I like system wise, like I would like to the point where, it's having like set time, like building the clientele to where it has grown, yes, but also to where I can have those set times of like athletes only, and then like adults. Like that's something I want to work on. And then just keep on marketing the best I can, and also being able to and I have great staff now. One of my coaches is leaving, go back to school. So like I'm bummed about that. She's awesome. And then it's just, hiring good people to where if I'm not there, I'm not worried or stressed while not being there. Like the place can run itself. That's where I would like it to be. And like a good thing, like I've like met such great people and I hope to meet many more to where it's, helping young kids. I have one client who's in her 60s, double lung transplant survivor. And
Well,
like that was a total, like it was just, bare bones, like as basic as you can get. And 6 months later, she's progressed so well. And like it's just even like some of her tests that come back from the doctors. And like that's, I just felt like it was a great day, like just to kind of like put it like something like she like told me about it. She's like, it's thanks to you type thing. And I'm like, I just gave you the tools. Like
right.
you did it. So like that was like it makes like those long, hard days, like these are always like the reminder of like why I do what I do. So like that was always good. Um and it's working with a small space and like not like fancy technology or stuff like that, or like the most like advanced things, like I have to be creative. Like how can we have what we need, but also how can I kind of draw in more people to where it's small space, but we have what we need, the results will show, that type of thing. So, but always like the business side was like marketing, advertising, like trying to do those things, like learning from you guys, like having promotions. Like I just started one yesterday for August to finish the summer strong type thing, just like try and get people in there, have the deals, and kind of like learn new ways to have more clientele or leads and get more referrals and stuff like that. So it's just always and like it's just no client to me is ever a forever client. Would I like a lot of them to be? Yes, but some might move. I remember Dan and Joe talking about it of at StrengthCon of, they're never forever. You never know, like family things happen or like this, that, and the other. So you always have to be looking for new clients. So it's always on the look. High school kids are going to college. They leave soon. So like that's something that's coming up for me. That's going to be an obstacle of, like they're not going to be coming in as much, and then the money won't be coming in like as it once were. Now, how can I replace that and kind of like keep a steady flow? So, but so that's what I would say for that.
Yeah. At your facility, what are you guys offering? Like as far as like, do you do small group too? Like adults and athletes? You could talk me through that too, because I don't know.
Yeah. I athletes in Gen Pop, we go through like package deals, like 1, 2, 3, 4 days a week, whatever they want to do. And then deciding what they want. Then everyone has their own sheet.
Okay.
So training program. So like we have folders on the wall, athlete folder, Gen Pop folder, and then I usually get it out for them, but they can go find it. And then, and I'll have multiple people in there. Sometimes I'll have an athlete in there. I'll have Gen Pop in there. So I'm kind of bouncing around a little bit, but that's also, I wanted people to like, my core values are learn, teach, change. So come in and learn, obviously. And if they can teach it to others at the same time, and also like change other people's lives, outside of the gym. And then when they come in, like I want them to be self-sufficient. Like I don't want to just be like a cheerleader. I don't want to be there just counting.
Yeah.
Like yeah, you know what I mean? Like 1, 2, 3. It's I have people that come in, they know what they're doing. They got their warm-up down. And that also buys me time of I know they're all set, they're warming up while I'm finishing up with so and so.
Yeah.
So it kind of like takes things off my plate a little bit and makes things kind of flow a bit smoother. So like that's always helpful. And it's again, I want people to be able to learn as they go and be able to be again self-efficient in those ways. So what else? So yeah, the package deals, athletes, Gen Pop. I have a couple interns that one would come with me to the high school, where I go to twice a week. So I can do a lot more with them. I have 2 groups at the high school, the varsity kids and the JV. So we do stuff in the field beforehand, having an extra set of eyes. They can run a station while I run another. So, it's like kind of, that was super helpful. I can do it on my own, but obviously I want more coaches out there if I can, just
Right.
safety wise and also just more proficient type thing.
Yeah.
But so it's been good. It's been good so like a lot of kids I haven't, like I've even like my rival high school, like I work with them now. So it's like little things I never thought I would do.
Have in the back of your mind, like you were once my enemy. Now I have to work with you guys.
Well, now like the kids at the high school I went to, now they're like, "You traitor." I'm like, it's nothing like personal. You'll be fine.
Yeah. You're just trying to bring everybody together, which is, that's part of the whole thing, is trying to unify everybody into like a community, building your own community versus just kind of sticking to one side of it and not reaching out to like everybody else and bringing more people in. And then they tell, that referral tree is like, hey, if you have the husband coming in, it'll be like the wife and then the kids, and it'll just kind of flow, and people will start kind of coming in on top of the leads that you already kind of get. That's more so my job. My role now at the gym is working on the attrition of the facility, and also trying to get people to bring friends and refer other people to us. If it's like a coworker, family member, a spouse, or whatever the case may be, like bringing more community events together, so that way people are more inclined to be like, oh, she and everybody else here, they want me to bring my friends and family to come try out a session, not be like, oh no, you can't do that, like you have to pay X amount of money and so forth and so on for that. So it's been helpful because everybody, especially that are first starting, they get a little intimidated when they see the gym. You see the gym, it's huge. So they kind of walk into like this way bigger than I thought it was going to be from looking on the outside coming inside. And it's just taking it in and just being like, hey, like look at the gym right now and look at the people that are in the gym. It could be a mom of 3 kids that you could relate to, or somebody that had double knee replacement a couple of years ago. Now he's like training and he's fully recovered and he feels a lot better, to a little kid that's 7, 8, 9 years old that's training. It's like the range is so wide for me to be like, hey, you're in a good spot. Like there's nothing for you to be stressed about. It's just a huge space, which allows people to also feel a lot more spaced out in certain things where they're not kind of huddled like our satellite ones. You can't really fit 10 to 15 people in the satellite locations to train. It has to be like 8 max in those little groups, which I don't know how many people can you fit in your space in like a timely basis, because it's probably an hour, right, that you're training?
Yeah, an hour, and it's 1,500 square foot, and I mean it's not big, so like if you have 6 people in there, it looks
A lot.
jammed.
Yeah,
But it's the most I've had in one time was 15, and that was a lot. That was like a station type.
right.
I used to do like kind of like hit on
Okay.
Sundays. I would do like a hit style type training session. So like that helped me break it up to breaking it up with groups and things like that. Kind of like gotten away from that and just gotten to more like smaller groups for where I am, and then like we're just like one-on-ones type deal. But so yeah, just to be like, I say like when you got 6 in there, it's a good like busy room.
Yeah.
Quote unquote. So I want to ask you too, like, because I see you post your training and things like that. Like you have, I mean, how many people you have in at a time? Like 20 to 30 sometimes.
The bigger groups, yeah, like I think 25. The day of underground, I had 30 that morning that you guys saw me at. That was crazy. That never happens. Like unless there's the sessions kind of are closed for the day, like we pushed everything up, and or my birthday, there was 40 people that I had. So it's a lot. It can be a lot sometimes.
Yeah, seriously. Like your organization, like you break down their training, like what they're going to be doing. Like, do a lot of the clients have an idea what things are at this point? Like your terminology, like this is like what this is. Like obviously newcomers, you help them a little bit more, or are you just kind of like just bouncing around the room, or you have other coaches there with you too, or like interns?
Hey,
Just
like
you, solo?
I mean, the interns. There's interns that are here till next week actually. So there's about 6 of them, which has been huge, like a very big help, because they're all pretty locked in and they want to be hands-on versus, when I first started, I was in the shadows, like behind Adam and Mike, not wanting to, go near anybody. I was just like, hey, and then like being like, let's go. But it was never like, oh, I'm going to coach this person or so forth. They had to push me to do that, versus these guys, they're like, oh, like, what do you need help with? Like, let me correct this person and this person.
That's awesome.
Which is great. Like, it's just that this intern class has been awesome. And hopefully I think we're hiring one starting next week, like once the internship is actually over. But having, it's usually just me. in like that whole room. There's small group obviously where there'll be 2 or 3 of us like on the hours, so it'll be spaced out a little bit more. But when there's 25 plus, like it's just me in the room with like 25 other people, you know?
Awesome. Yeah. All the respect. That's a lot.
Thanks.
So,
Thanks. What was your question on that? Did you have anything? I
what?
don't know. If you were gonna ask a question, or you were just saying like, how do I manage it?
Yeah, like I was just curious, and like your training's like creative and like how they run through it and things like that. I was just curious, like how like at Varsity House, like you have the turf.
Yeah.
Is it primary? You say like you just have. It looks like almost like levels, like when I see like clips or something like that, or like everyone's broken up.
Right.
That type of
Yeah.
thing.
It depends on the day. So I teach. I had my meeting with Mike the other day, and he was like, you have like 14 classes in your schedule each week, and I didn't realize how many I really was taking and teaching. It was like, okay, I program pretty much 3 out of the 5, 6 days that were open. So, it gives me the more like flexibility to kind of do what I want to do with the adults that are in that session. Some of them are kids too, but not a lot. It's usually the adults over 40 or like 35, 40, I should say. And having them kind of give me feedback all the time has been like useful. It's like, hey, we really want this. It's like, okay, like this workout was great. What can be better? What do you guys think? And I've been really, grateful that I don't really, knock on wood, get any complaints like I used to in the beginning, like maybe 1 or 2, but now it's like nothing.
That's
And
good.
just I post them on my Instagram all the time for the clients to see it and be like, all right, I know what to walk into when they come in. Some people are like, I'm not coming in today. That looks horrible, which kind of sucks, but it makes it funny that people are actually waiting for me to post the workout for the day.
Okay.
Which I didn't realize how many people were actually doing it until there was one time specifically that I didn't post it because I knew it was like a harder one. And the 8:30 group has been either like super small in the summertime, but then it picks up in the fall. Like people will come at 8:30 a little bit more than 7 or 10.
Mhm.
And they'll be like, oh, why didn't you post this workout? Like I was waiting. Like I didn't know if I was like gonna come or not. Then I had no choice but to come. It's like, dude, you gotta just show up no matter what. Like you shouldn't be waiting for me to post it on my social media.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I feel like it's easy sometimes and it's also hard. Like I think now being 5 years into the position that I'm in and seeing kind of what people want and giving them what they want at the same time, obviously kicking their asses a little bit, but it is more or less stations or a checklist or it's timed. It's just trying to figure out what would work best for the day at hand and what I can set up and coach efficiently. Because when you're coaching 25 plus people in a room, you start I'm running around making sure that everybody's doing something correctly, everything correctly. But sometimes you get lost. Like you may not see somebody that's in the corner that's like doing something correctly. Like you're just kind of constantly moving. So I feel like that sometimes gets a little tricky, but there might be a client, which is really cool. Like if a client's next to that person, they'll correct them if they've been there for
That's
5
great.
years, which is like, even when you were saying like the newer clients that come in, when they look at the bigger group classes, they get really like intimidated. They're saying like they can't do it. I'm like, no, you can do it. There's a 75-year-old couple that does the classes with me. They can handle it. If they can handle it, you can handle it. So like what's stopping you? You just have to go at your own pace, which it's not like an Orange Theory where they're like kind of yelling in your face, being like, hey, like keep going, like go faster, go. Like I'm not like that. It's just like, hey, you do what you can. You accomplish what you did. If you're constantly getting better each week, that just means that your endurance is going up and up and up, and your just stamina in general is going up. So like with the newer clients, when they come and take a class, I try my best to break everybody down together. And the clients will know if they've been there for 2+ years, the warm up, they know everything. They kind of, as I'm explaining, they're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Like I'm going to grab this weight and kind of go through the circuit. The newer clients, sometimes I'll pair them up with people that I think would work relatively good with them. And that's where that community building comes into play, because I'm trying to make friendships in my classes, not just be like, oh, like here, just be on your own. Good luck. Follow along with whoever else is doing whatever. It's more like, hey, like, you're going to work with this person. She's great. I promise you're going to have a good time for the whole hour that you're here. And then it turns into, oh, when are you coming back? Like, I would love to work out with you. Like, and it's a trickle effect, and they end up just enjoying it more and more, and then start coming more and more. So but the interns, having them has been like super helpful, because if I don't see somebody and they catch it before me and I'm on the other side of the gym, it's like, okay, Like my mind is not like, oh, somebody's gonna pull their back, God forbid, or something like that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, small group for me, like I do small group sessions not as much as I do classes anymore, but I still program for, I have 40 people under my True Coach. I don't know what if you're using an app. I think you just said you're using like a sheet, but we use like that training software. So even if I'm not training them, it's like I'm still making the changes or the adjustments and progressions and all that. And giving them more fun to do that they're not in my class. I'm gonna just torture them while they're in small group instead, which kind of makes life a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And my range now, which is funny, it's like I'm training a lot of the adults. When I first started, it was a lot of the athletes. Now it's generally the adults, but now I train kids privately. Like I think I have 5 kids under the age of 11 that I train like one-on-one, which I go from like 75-year-old people to then like 11-year-olds. So my verbiage and my language and the way that I speak to people has to like tone down, like
Right.
I don't really realize that until I train twin girls that play softball. Their parents are incredible. Everything about them, they're so easy to train. And sometimes I'm like, I have to catch myself not speaking to them like an adult. Like they're not adults, they're kids, So
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever had like a thing like that. I always have to try to take myself back and obviously not curse in front of the kids either. That's like I'm like, oh shit, like sorry, like I'm like, oh God, I didn't mean to do that. And then
Yeah.
their parents are like, they hear worse. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I don't want them to hear it from me. And then
Yeah.
God,
Right.
they come home and they're saying shit that I said,
Yeah.
So
Coach Steph said this. What does
Coach
this
Steph
mean?
said the word shit. What do I do about that? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. So that's kind of like my take on all that stuff to, elongated answer to your question. And I don't know what do you really enjoy the most with your like currently? Like, do you feel like you're more in tune like small group, or do you feel like the private training is kind of like your thing? Like, do you have like a niche on your side of it?
I like the small groups, I'd say. Like I one-on-ones I do love at the same time. Like I have the balance of having each, but I like having, a room full,
Mm,
like multiple people in there at the same time. If I can kind of time wise, if I can get athletes together, I have something I really love too is I have, 2 kids that go to the same school. Like they never spoke to each other in school. Like a great difference. And now they come to the gym and now they're friends. So now, like, even one of them said to me, like, oh, I've never talked to so and so before. Like, I didn't think they even knew me. So,
mm,
but now, like, they have this friendship. So now, like, I'm hoping outside of the gym when they see each other in school, like, they talk more, something like that. So it's just like that was cool to see of people that I don't usually talk to. Now they've built that friendship, and now it travels outside of the facility. But definitely like just having the small groups, but at the same time, like everyone's doing something different.
yeah.
It's like so and so is doing this on their program and this, that, and the other. And then again, like bouncing around. So, like if we have like sprints on this day, I got to manage that. And then also helps again when someone's knows what they're doing, and I can just go check in, make sure they're all good, and then kind of go to more like busy stuff on this side or whatever it may be. Um, but it's been great. Like the one-on-one, it's almost like when you have the bigger groups and I'm kind of running around and then I have a one-on-one, it's a good time I can kind of have like a chiller
Right.
like session, and it's more of kind of keeps me like energy wise in a good spot. Um, so that's what I would say with that. But so yeah, so I'd say I love one-on-ones, but I've come to like maybe it's from the collegiate sector too, that I was with just groups all the time, that I've always liked to have that atmosphere going on. So, but it's leaning probably towards like the small groups,
Yeah.
but it's always good to have like the one-on-one sessions.
I was gonna ask you too, like, how does the programming structure work for you? Because you said everybody's doing something different. Like, how do you manage that in a group, like a small group? Like, how are you programming them on a day-to-day basis?
Usually depend like on how like in terms of what they're doing.
Yeah, like, somebody that's 40 years old is obviously not doing something that like a 15-year-old person is doing or a 75-year-old person is doing. Like, how are you programming them specifically in that like general small group setting?
Yeah, I have like this more general warm up everyone does, and then I'll have a lift prep. I usually have that for more like my adult clients. So it's like almost like a primer before they get to their like first block. And then athlete wise, depending on the day, I'll have the adults do their prep, which can separate the room a little bit more, and then athletes will go on the turf and they get their dynamic if they have sprints that day. All right, more like a dynamic warm up for that. And then if they have like an upper body day where there's no, high intense sprinting or something like that, they have a different prep. So it's just also now I'm also just moving equipment around to where it's not clustered. People have some space between. So I say the adults like more like prep work beforehand. They have like their general warm up. Like I don't have them doing like A skips and stuff like that. Like that is teaching this, like keep it simple for them. Also trying to like meet where they need to be. Some like want more like looking for like more like bodybuilding style type thing. So it's like I know like if I threw something that was something I feel like they would not really be attached to where I build the warm up to where they like it and they still enjoy it. And then athletes, I kind of have a little bit more fun with them, like throw ladders here and there, throw a game in the beginning or at the end, that type of thing. So it's busy room, like when everyone's on their own thing, just kind of, again, like once they get it down, it just makes it so much easier.
Yeah, I give you a lot of credit because I can't imagine me coaching sprints while I'm also trying to manage the adults on the other side of the space. I feel like I like blank out, be like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm kind of running around back and forth. I give you a lot of credit for that because that's like a lot.
So yeah, it can be. And also like safety too. Like that's my thing too. I'll position myself to where I can see the whole room to where it splits it, and then people doing sprints on this side, record their times, give them their rests, and then while they're resting, I'll go check in on whoever is doing something on the other side. So it's a good. I found. I mean, it can always be better, but right now it's something that I'm able to do, and it's in a safe way, and I can check in and everything's still good. So it's helpful. Like when people start like a new phase or something like that, like that's where I have to be more attentive because there's gonna be questions, things they haven't done before, or more questions. But like once they're on week 3 or week 4, they go in 4-week phases. They're pretty good at that point. Like that's where I know it kind of takes stress off from me that I can be more attentive to this side or this group, this person, whatever it is. So, but and then having 2 part-timers, which is really nice to where they can be in there with me and I can ask them if I really can't get to somebody like right away, like I'll be like, just go check in on them or something like that. So the space is small enough to where, like we can really see everything. There's no like really blind spots at all. So that's been super helpful.
Yeah. Which, sometimes you could get lost in our gym and, somebody's like hiding in the corner and you're like, oh shit, like where'd that person go? Because it's such a, big space. But, the underground strength event that we did was pretty cool. Like, especially when the clients were seeing all of like everybody started to come in and like watch their session and not knowing like who any of these people are and, seeing kind of everybody spectating and watching and speaking to people too that I've never really seen. Like, I think I've followed people on social media for so long, but then like meeting them in person was, oh, like you're that person. Like I got it. And like clicking the pieces together and speaking to them. And everybody's on like different paths, but we're all like doing the same thing. So it's never been like, oh, you're the owner of this gym. Like I can't really speak to you because I don't really relate to you. Like I think that's where the beauty of this whole community for the BOS, like the business of strength stuff is cool because, I could talk to Zach Evanesh for, an hour. We all went to this Monmouth event and it was me, Joe, Dan, him, and Adam. And I was able to actually like, conversate. It wasn't like, oh, they're above me. Like I can't speak to them the way that I could speak to anybody else that's like kind of on the same level as me. So that's been, really like cool and like connecting with people too. And seeing that everybody's approachable and not that everybody's like, oh, like I don't want to talk to you. Like we're just gonna move on to the next person, know? So, for you, when you came to that event, like what was that big takeaway for you? Like, and you brought it back to your gym. Like, what was that like?
It was like the scheduling and kind of having like goal setting and things like that. It was like also like after that weekend, I was like just
my brain was spinning.
My brain was mush. I remember Dan's like, he's like, don't listen to any podcasts. just ride in silence or listen to music or whatever. And he was totally right. Um, and it's seeing other business owners and just starting out they went through hard things, like, some of them going through bankruptcy or being on the verge of, how am I going to pay off this month, or like this, that, and the other, to where it did give me a sense of relief of these people went through similar things. So, and they made it through, like they pushed through those hard times. So it's just keep going. Like, it's like, don't let one bad day ruin your week type thing. And it's just going to be, again, just starting out, trying to keep that in mind of, getting more people on the door. And it's just, it's going to be a lot. So, but the big takeaway was like, so many people were so transparent of the mistakes they made and, being on the edge of, might have to close down or something, but they just stuck to stay the course and just kept going. So like that, and it's like meeting new people like Zach Evanish. Like, I listened to his podcast plenty of times. I actually met Joe and Dan at URI. They came to visit one time.
Right.
So, and that was kind of a crazy thing to think about. And it's just like seeing your guys' facility gave me ideas, like, what can I do with the gym and my space that I have, and like being smart with that type of thing. So it's just, all in all, it was great. And again, I appreciate all the speakers, all of you guys. So it was super helpful. And I just like, sometimes I just love to just be there. Like, it was just like all these people in the same space, just that share the same interest, love for what they do type thing. So I was like, I can't wait for the next one. So it's going to be good.
Win it again.
So, yeah.
I remember them being like, I don't know if we're going to do this again. And we were all sitting in the room and we're like, no, I feel like you're going to you and Zach we're talking to Joe. I was like, I feel like you're definitely going to do this again. Like, there's no way that you're not. Because there were so many people. It was a meathead event. Literally, it was a meathead event. It was just straight up, everybody was talking the talk, and everybody was eating and drinking and having a good time at the end of it. And, you meet people that, I'm really cool with Mike and Steve, and having that like friendship with them and being able to also connect with other people through them has been awesome too. And that's why with this podcast, when I put them on and we were just like kind of back and forth, I didn't even remember when I met them. We were all sitting there like, I don't remember when we even kind of became friends. And I think it had to be like one of the BOS events, which is cool. Like, you don't really think about it. It kind of just happens and you just go with it. It's not really like a stressful thing. So I always take so much away from those events. And that's why when I was texting you, I was like, oh, like Arizona is like really, that event is awesome. Like when I went last year, that was the first time I went, and it was just cool to be out there too in a different state. But the event itself was also like, you start connecting with different people. It's a little bit more intimate because there's 50, 60 people. So getting to know everybody on like a little smaller scale. And then having underground like that, I think it was like 2 months after that. It was like, oh shit, there's like you're seeing the people that you saw in Arizona plus like another 50 people that you didn't even know were coming. It's like, oh, okay, like it's gonna move on and go from there. And I think for me, because I went to school for nutrition, so it was a totally different world for me going into like the strength and conditioning stuff. And I never really felt confident in the strength and conditioning stuff until probably a couple of years ago. Because even when I first started, I'm like, there's so many people that are better than me, and I don't know if I'm going to even get to that level where I feel good about coaching a session and not feeling like, oh, I could have done better. I could have done this. I could have done that. And, holding the line, like you were talking about, everybody has like a story of where they've come from and kind of pushing the edge of saying like, okay, I want to give up, but I can't. And it's finding that rhythm. And I think for me, like I fell so many times, and just getting back up and walking forward and being like, okay, that wasn't good, but I could probably do better the next one. And kind of pushing through that. And, even with the social media stuff, it's hard to, and you could correct me too, because I think I saw a video of you posting this, but social media in the fitness world is like really tricky. And I talk about it all the time, but you have so many people giving out false information. And then we have AI and Chat GPT. You could Google something and you could get like a whole program now on Chat GPT. And it's like, okay, like, why am I going to pay you to do that when I could just have this?
That's crazy. Yeah. There's nothing better. Nothing compares to the face-to-face interaction. And like the ChatGPT can create this perfect program, but it can't deliver it. Like
Right.
it's, it has like, it could have the best periodization scheme. It could be this, that, and the other. And but also it's also like how the coach applies it. So like, that's where I think AI, I mean, chat, like it has so many great things I've come to see more and more of, but also the person to person like relationship. I don't think it will ever touch that. But it's, but even so, like a coach told me one time, like, and I think, you keep going and keep doing things with good intentions, but, I'm not saying I've been in this for decades, not even close, but, a coach told me one time, he's like, I just had more reps than you. Like I've had more skin in the game, like, and learning from those things and always good to reflect on like, this could have went better. This session could have went better or whatever it is. But as you go and you see these coaches that have been doing it 25, 30 plus years, it seems like they've had so many more reps and experiences, like it has helped them become better from that. So I try and like hang on to that, and I was just like obviously always trying to improve things, and just kind of take the experience that I had, learn from them obviously, and then just when the coach told me that, I was in grad school, he told me that, so like it kind of like resonated with me. Like he never said like I'm just smarter than you type thing. He's like I've just had more reps. It's like you just get better and better, that type of thing. So, but I was curious too to ask, like for you personally, like what is like your goals, like whether like nutrition wise, like are you training for something specific, or is it? I know we're talking like business and stuff, but now I'm curious like what your plans are.
So I was powerlifting for a little bit. I powerlifted when I first started at the gym. I was talking to Mike, and because he was kind of like a mentor too at the time when I first started, and he obviously has done strongman competitions. He's been to the Arnold like, a couple years ago, and I'm always by his side because that's kind of, we're just yin and yang at this point, and he helped me a lot with the training. And when I first started, I was like, oh, I definitely like know what I'm doing with like my training. And I remember he saw me deadlifting I think it was like the first week, and he just pulled me to the side. He's like, we have to fix that. I was like, shit, okay. Like all of what I've been working for, you just crumbled me down.
Yeah.
I was kind of in that mindset of like, oh, I want to do this. I want to go on the powerlifting meet because I played sports my whole life. I wanted something to train for and like work for, but I never like signed up for it. I was always just saying it. So there came to a point where he's like, why are you just saying it and not doing it? I was like, okay, that's a fair point. That's fair.
Yeah.
And he kind of just signed me up for one. Like he didn't even like ask. He kind of was like, oh, I signed you up for this one in November. It was 2021. And he's like, I'm going to program you 4 days a week. We're going to get strong, and you're going to find out. You're going to step on that stage, and that's going to make you a better coach each time. And
that's
I sat
awesome.
there going like, okay, I guess I'm going to have to do this now.
Yeah. Made it real.
I made it real. And my first comp, they obviously checked your equipment to make sure that things were, approved. So my knee sleeves weren't approved. So I've been squatting with knee sleeves at that point for 6 months, and I knew I could do 2 plates, but I had my knee sleeves on, and my belt wasn't approved either. So I was like, all right, throw me out, throw me out of here. He's like,
completely
no,
raw.
You have to do it. So I was able to get out of the hole that I was in for 225, which was like a monumental thing for me, getting past that point. And, my bench could have been better, but it was the first one. Then I got off, and I won second place in my weight class. And I went to Mike, and I'm like, okay, I got to do another one. Like, there's no way I'm going to stop doing this. And it turned into, I did 3 comps. So I did one in 2021, and then I think it was one in 2022, and then the other one was in 2023. So I gained a lot of weight, but it wasn't like weight, like fat weight. It was just like muscle weight. So I wasn't used to being 180 at like a muscular point in my life. Like I was definitely strong as shit, but I wasn't also comfortable with where I was too, because there's always like that thing in the back of my mind. I went through a weight loss journey. So I went from being pretty fat to then pretty skinny, and then now I'm kind of like in a really good place. But there's like that stigma again, bringing it back to, as a woman you have to be petite and small. So I fit into that category at first, and then everybody was like, no, you have to weight lift. You're gonna drive yourself into the ground. Like you're gonna feel all these pains. Being 140 at like 5'8" is not sustainable whatsoever for me, which it never was. I did it for like I got into that weight for 6 months, and then after that I went to college. I was like, okay, I guess not. I'm just gonna stay, just gonna go back up again. But it was like stepping on the scale and seeing 180 and being like, oh, like this is a lot. And it was always like that back of my mind being like, I don't know if I'm at like a point, but I never like spiraled. It was more that I was comfortable because I was stronger than I've ever had been. So going from that, then I sat myself down. I think it was 2024. I'm like, okay, like maybe I can do something different, like do more volume training, kind of lean back into the bodybuilding type of like working out style, not so much of trying to go to compete to a show, but like easing out of the powerlifting stuff because I wanted to lose the weight. And I ended up building a program for the gym for like the summer program that we did for 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So I tested it myself because you can't put something out there that you'd never really done on your own. I always believe in that. And I did it for longer than 4 weeks. I did it for like probably 3 months, but I ended up getting down to like I lost like 25 pounds in that time.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
now, and that was like in the beginning, like and towards the end of last year, going into this year, and I'm like, okay, I feel a lot better. I'm definitely not gonna pull 315 off the floor like I used to when I was 25 pounds heavier, but I'm in like a definitely like a different space now where I feel good and I'm functionally and volume training and not feeling like I'm sitting in the session for 2.5 hours because, you know, I loved it when I first started working at the gym, but now with all the responsibilities on my belt, I can't be like in the training session for myself for like 2.5 hours. And I have to go to small group in the afternoon on certain days. I have to, you know, go home or like come back and do certain things. I have privates. So it's like the hardest thing has been for me to manage my schedule and trying to block out like a time where I know that I can train efficiently, eat, and then go back to like the sessions in the afternoon versus, you know, rushing, showering, and then just running out on the training floor and not having any food in my system. Cause then you're not reaching to, you know, what you're practicing at that point, you know?
Right.
So it's just been trying to at least train like 4 days a week. And I've been walking a little bit more, like 30 minutes a day, I would say. We got like a walking pad at work. So I'm just we have a desk now. So I'm like walking and doing work at the same time.
Yeah, nice.
An hour goes by. I'm like, all right, you know what? I got my steps in. That's it. But that's kind of been what I've been doing. What have you been doing?
So I want to ask you too, like when you saw your strength, I mean, kind of like strength like diminishes like when you change your training like that, like you weren't, you know, deadlifting as much as you once were. Was that like a hard, like when you saw like your strength not be where it was that a tough thing? Or like did you kind of keep in mind like I'm not training that way right now, like I'm doing more things to where like it didn't does that make sense? Like almost like mentally I'm not as strong, but my goals are different now. Like, did you ever have a struggle with that?
Yeah, I would say I beat myself up almost every day about it. But no, it's definitely hard for me because I love being strong. Like that's like kind of my thing. And, you know, having like trying to go back to those lifts and being like, okay, I'm not as strong as I used to be. It definitely takes a toll on me mentally. And like, oh, like I start getting in my head about it and I'm like, all right, but you're in a different place than you were. You're not like competing anymore. So you have to it's like taking a step back every session and back, you know, being completely vulnerable. But, you know, I looked at it in that way and being like, okay, I'm not going to even train today. Like, I know I'm not strong anymore. So like, why the hell am I going to, you know, waste my time and go train when I'm doing work? So I used to really knock myself down and just focus on making excuses, like probably like 6 months ago. Like I just was doing it for so long. And the beauty of like working with other people, they start picking up on what you're doing. And, you know, I had a couple of the guys being like, you haven't been training, like what's going on? And I used to just be like, oh, like I have work to do, like I'm gonna go after, I'll do something else after. But it kept happening. So now it's like, okay, you have to get your shit together and prioritize yourself. You have to stop beating yourself up over it because, you know, at the end of the day, you're not 185 anymore. You're 160, 165 roughly. And you decided that this is not what you want to do anymore. So it's just managing that mentally. Definitely could be hard sometimes. And other times it's like, okay, like I'm going to still train, but I know I'm going to do the lifts that I know I can do at a heavier standpoint. Because dumbbell weight, I could still put up like a good heavy amount of weight with the dumbbells, but when it comes to the barbell stuff, like with deadlifting and stuff, I'm not nearly as strong as I once was, like picking up like 3 plates off the floor for reps. I can't do that shit no more. But I did it once, so that's all that matters. So
That doesn't mean you can't do it again though at some point.
yeah,
You know
it's
what I
just
mean?
trying to build up that that I guess the programming too, like trying to build myself back up to that again and not having to gain weight while I'm doing it. So trying to figure that out right now has been kind of what I've been doing for the last like month or two. So yeah,
Right.
I appreciate that for asking me that question.
Yeah, of course. No, I've seen like obviously your posts and stuff like that. So I was curious, like the changes you've made, or like if any struggle came from you had that place of strength, and then obviously differently. But like the dumbbell thing, even I think of like you can still lift heavy in that sense. It checks off that box, hopefully.
Right.
Of I'm still like you're strong regardless, but also like you're still checking off the box of like hitting that feeling type thing. It's not a deadlift, but
yeah. But it's also like now I could do push-ups. It's like I was like, okay, I can do more push-ups now because my bench is at like 150. Like my max is ever is like 155. So being at like a closer, I guess, weight, because Mike always says like you have to be able to press your body weight so you can actually do a push-up. Like there's little things that you can do. And I just remember being like demonstrating in classes too helps so much. I feel like you're just building strength constantly when you're demonstrating exercises and movements. But I could do 10 push-ups easy. So I'm like, all right, that's a win. Just making sure. Still can't do a pull-up, but I could do many push-ups. So that's all that matters. Working
next goal, right?
Next goal, yeah.
But
So what about you? What are you doing right now with training?
I use Train Heroic.
Okay.
The app. Yeah, to be completely honest, like I don't know if this is like right to say, but like I hate programming for myself.
Me too.
So it's like because I just hang on to what I'm about to do. I change things like that. But I got on Train Heroic, and Joe DeFranco and Smitty Diesel, they have their team Forever Strong, and I jumped on there, and I've been riding that out for several months now, and they're it's like DeFranco and stuff like that. Like he's bigger to like almost like not like heavy barbell lifts and things like that. Like they have like the strength components, not like powerlifting or anything like that, but I like the volume, like I mean time efficiency too. I've really came to like I can't spend 45-50 minutes, some maybe over an hour, but it's like the time that I have now is I need a time efficient sessions. So and I can get 4 days in, and I can still like I guess like not even feel like squeezing it in, because they've come out to be that good sweet spot of time. So it's and even it's not going for 1 rep maxes anymore or something like that. It's I like the feeling of weighted pull-ups or weighted push-ups or being better on more single leg stuff at this point. So it's just also just trying to trim down as much fat mass as I can. So it's just before it was all like stronger the better, but now I like to get better and stronger things that typically aren't like more traditional. So, but it's the programs have been great. Like they run out like 12-week stretches, new phases every 4 weeks. So I really enjoy what they're doing. They're giving me plenty of ideas too. They have like mobility wads, and I've been able to use it with clients too of like answers to things I didn't know, that can help them. So it gives me more ideas and things like that. So it showed me that I don't need to do a bunch in a session. Like sometimes the session will come out to like 35 minutes or something, and I still feel worked. Like I feel like I did something. So it's been good, and it tells me what to do. I don't know if it's like from being an athlete and just giving a sheet and like go do this. Like that's what I missed a lot. So being told what to do is like been super awesome, super convenient too.
Yeah, I agree. Have you met Joe DeFranco?
No, I've podcasts, everything, but
Yeah, he came to the gym to do his CPPS certification with all of us. I think it was 2020. It might have been 2023 or 20. This whole like past like 5 years has been a blur, but he came one of the times, and I remember he was definitely talking about all that stuff, and he was trying to show us like your mobility and like your shoulder and like just mechanics in your hips and all the other stuff. And I remember he like asked the room like, "Oh, who played baseball, softball?" And that's what I used to play all the time. And I was and then the following up question was like, "Oh, who played in the outfield?" So my hand was still up because that's all I did. So I overthrew a lot. And I remember he like, put me in the middle. There was like 100 people in the gym, and he was like, "Okay, give me your non-throwing side." And he like did a movement. He's like, "Okay, you see how she can like extend?" He's like, "Okay, give me your throwing arm." And he's like, "Dude," I was like, "Oh no, you like roasted me in front of everybody."
Yeah.
But it was more just seeing that from I haven't played softball in, I mean, probably since college, like high school, college. I wasn't playing for sports in college, but I was still actively like playing for teams like outside of it.
Yeah.
But looking back, I'm like, damn, like I definitely I was throwing from home like perfectly fine, but I definitely did not have any sense of coaching in that time frame, which sucks speaking to people like you and like everybody else. You guys had like somebody kind of guiding you through like playing collegiate sports. And in high school we didn't really have that in our high schools because it was so small. So it's just going to practice, playing the sport that you're playing, but not having any tools as to what you're supposed to do after the fact. So I gained a lot of weight like after my first soccer season because I was not eating well, but I was burning off the calories I was eating because we're running like all the time. Like it was no nonstop. And I hate running, but I was running all the time for soccer. And I gained 70 pounds in like 7 months. Like it was bad, like after the season. But I went into softball being the strongest that I ever was. And I would hide myself in my clothes. Like I wasn't really showing like, hey, like I gained all this weight. But it came down to, hey, you're heavier than you were. You have to kind of own it. But I didn't really have somebody to be like, hey, this is what you have to do. These are the tools that you need. You have to weight lift in high school. That's why with the generation that we have now, like in our high school sessions too, even in like the kids, like the junior kids, like teaching them the importance on like what protein is, because the 7 to 9-year-old groups that we have, like they don't know shit about that. Like they're young. And not making it this like stressful thing, but like, hey, what are you gonna do when you get home? Like, what are you eating? It's like, oh, like I'm gonna eat this. Like, how about you tell your mom to put chicken in it or something? Like something like so small. But the high school kids, I don't know if you can see that, like kind of picking you back off of it, but their eating habits are not the best either. It's one kid was like, yeah, I had like a peanut butter jelly sandwich, but then I had Chick-fil-A nuggets before I came here on top of that. It's like, dude, where's the correlation between the two foods? So what my question was like, how do you talk to the kids versus how you talk to the adults when it comes to nutrition on your side?
Yeah, like keeping the age like in mind. It's like my 11-year-old, like I'm just like, I'll ask like, you had breakfast this morning, like did you eat anything?
And so
so I'm like, if he says I had a banana, I'm like, good. Like it's better than nothing, obviously, but it's like he's so young to where it's like I'm not gonna go into the breakdown. Like I do mention like, make sure you get protein in there. Like it's just, build like I'll like break it down to them of, muscle rebuilding and things like that. Right. But like older people too of, it can be it's just an educational piece because there's times of could be frustration of like if they just don't know what they don't know, and obviously like you keep telling them those things, but high schoolers, like you said, like it's they go and eat like nothing almost. They think they're eating a lot when it's like you're really not. Like it's even like 2 of my guys going to college, they're asking questions and almost like they like knew they weren't eating enough, but also like expand like you do have to fuel. Like you need to get these things in. How much you're training from 4 days of lift, 3 days of run, you have to take these things in to make like changes and also just like be sustainable and not experiencing burnout, whatever it is, to where it's older a little bit better just because they have a more grasp on like what you need to do. And I'll be upfront with them. Like I'm not a nutritionist. I give suggestions. Like I have knowledge behind things. My buddy, like business partner as well, like he's a nutritionist. So like I go to him for questions on a bunch of stuff so that I can relay it to the kids or older adults and things like that, to where it's, like they think they're doing things right, but it's like, okay, you are on the right track, but this is what you could do more of, that type of thing. So it's just, again, like the young kids just, if they're keeping it healthy to a degree too, just kind of like get those good habits, but at the same time, like you kind of have to like talk to them and like not dive into the scientific stuff.
Yeah.
Like you can't explain it to like a third grader, like even to adults, even like they don't even,
I was gonna say even the adults, you can't really go like super I'm not like a scientific person whatsoever when I speak to anybody, especially, you know, with coaching too. I want it, like, I like your core values a lot. Like, I think that's cool. Like, we want to teach these people, and they become like self-sufficient enough to where they could come into a session and feel good and know like what a progression is and what we're working for and so forth and so on. And just, you know, being crystal clear with them and not making this like whole scientificness to it. It's like, I'm gonna lose them in 20 seconds if I keep talking like that. And I barely get people's attention when I'm speaking in a class setting, like, hey, you're gonna do this. And if I throw everything all at them at once, they're like, you lost me. I don't even remember what you said in the first time. It's like, okay, like, all right. I don't even know why I don't even know why I'm saying it in the first place, you know?
Yeah, it's Buddy Morris here. He's like, if you can't write it down on like a napkin and explain it, you know, like keep it very simple. To where it's like, we're like, obviously, like you and I, we can talk like, oh, like conjugate training, like this, that, and the other, accommodating resistance. But like when you're talking to somebody, like they don't really, I wouldn't say like they don't care, but like they almost like don't, like they just want it, like they want like the gist of like, what is this doing? And you break it down in very simple terms of, well, we're doing this and why we're doing this X and O's and all that type of thing. To where, you know, it's, again, just keeping the simpler the better.
Yeah.
But also I've came to like see like with social media, it's just a flood of just so much information, to where, and like the kids are smart too. Like they come in and ask questions. So now like when you tell them something, but they go see, you know, social media and you see someone that says like, well, so-and-so said this, and then you have to be like, well, this is like why, like that type of thing. Everything's different, but, or is this person on social media just trying to BS you just to buy something?
Right.
So like that's where I get hung up. I made that video the other day about it, of these snake oil supplements that are people that just are just, you know, maybe naive, or like they just, you know, like that's the one thing I really want to change, and hopefully it gets better. But you know, people just want money, but they know people don't know. If you tell them the supplement's going to do this for them, they'll buy it. You know, you're giving people false hope, and also you're just taking money from them. So it's just, I don't know. Hopefully that's something that changes. You know, just coaches that know, you know, the good and keep fighting the good fight. Hopefully we can kind of get the people out that just are doing no justice by, you know, just lying to people. So it's a vicious cycle.
It's cool for me though. Like, I worked in supplements before I did this. So I have like 5 years of experience working at GNC and Vitamin Shop. Like, I worked both. And the people that you come in contact with, it's almost like you have like a certain way of trying to talk to them in a way that's like, hey, like, I know you saw this on social media, but it's not going to work the way that you think it's going to work. And being honest, that was like the only thing that I went into. I know, like, at the end of the day, it's a sales job. You're trying to sell products and X, Y, and Z, trying to make the business grow. But it was more just trying to educate people, because this is what I was studying. It was like nutrition. I was combating both. It's like, okay, supplements are great. The creatine's great. How many people are like, oh, creatine's bad for you. You can't take it. Like, you're going to, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's like, you're trying to take a fat loss pill. You can't be talking to me about creatine's bad for you. You're trying to take a fat loss pill, and then they come back like 30 days later with the bottle empty, trying to return it because it didn't work. It's like, dude, you're not gonna go anywhere in life if you're gonna keep acting like that. That interaction I'll never forget, because she came in with a bag of McDonald's in her hand, and the other bag had the pills in her hand, and she like threw it on the table. She's like, this doesn't work. It's like, maybe you need to see the other hand as to why it's not working for you. At the end of the day, it's a supplement. It's not like a magic pill that's going to evaporate.
Exactly.
So with the kids and the adults, what's the biggest thing that you get from social media? Like a question that they come in and ask, because mine has been intermittent fasting and fasting in general. People will fast for 24 to 48 hours and they think that anybody could do it. So they're going to do it. So I don't know how you could bounce off of me for that too.
Yeah, I probably creatine I get the most questions about. I take it myself, and you know, people are like, "Oh, it just adds water. Like you just hold water." It's like,
yep.
Okay, like, and it's like, you know, a client even the other day was asking about it, like, "Oh, like what creatine do you take?" I'm like, "I take this one." I'm like, "It's good, you know, reputation. I've been taking it. It's a single ingredient. There's no fluff in it. There's no other crap in it." It's the most studied supplement in the world. It's like it's been shown to help with this, that, and the other. So I'd say creatine is one of the biggest ones, and even like fasting, people, and also just probably fasting and creatine,
Yeah.
I would say. So and just people, I think they don't eat as much as they think, and it
Mm,
doesn't make changes.
hmm.
So it's or people's like, I just can't. And then it's like, they'll be like, how much like protein should I be getting? I'm like, typically it's, 1 gram per pound of body weight. So that's like, and then it's like, well, it's so hard. And then I had a client the other day, he uh, has got a routine with his preps, and he's like, he almost like, it's almost hard for him to like, uh, he got it. I mean, not hard. He hit it so much easier once he like had his meals more structured and more
Hmm.
organized. And he's a bigger guy, so he's hitting by by the book. He should be hitting high 200s grams. So it's like, and then once he got it, he's just like, I'm like, see, dude, it's like not. It seems hard at first, but it's just if you're just eating big meals with no, nutritional value in terms of protein, like this example, then yeah, it's going to be hard to hit because you're just not consuming things that are going to help you meet the level that you need. So that was cool to see. Like once they see it is easier than they think. People think it's a lot harder, but everyone's on their own path too. And I think it's a good test of patience of educating people on this is how you can do things better, or like it might seem hard, but like you can do it better, and then you realize, okay, and now I know what I can do, type thing. So creatine, I feel like is always like I feel like it's kind of picking up in the world a little bit more. It's always been around, but like it's everything kind of dips and flows in the fitness
Yeah.
industry, like intermittent fasting to Mark Bell. I don't know if you watch him. He had his sugar diet thing going on.
Yep.
So, like that was the new thing to do. So like everything just kind of recycles.
Yeah, people just see what other people are doing online and they want to replicate it or just do it and then not realize like, hey, this is a lifestyle change. It's not supposed to be a quick fix and then you move on to the next thing. The one guy, him and his wife, like she tried to do it like this. It was like a 48-hour fast. Like, and it was I don't know how the structure is, I'm not gonna butcher it, but it was like just fasting every other day or whatever the case was. And he was losing weight, but she wasn't. And it's like your balance in your body is so different genetically probably than his body. So you can't expect something that is working for him is going to work for you. That's just how it is, especially with the nutrition stuff. And with that program that I made for that 4 weeks, it was more just, hey, like you guys, the goal is to cut out sugar and alcohol, yes, but it's also looking at portions and being like, okay, how am I going to hit 150 grams of protein? Here's how you do it. This is simple. You pick a food from the list above and you could plug it in however you want. If you don't eat chicken, you could have meat, and like giving them options to do so, not this like 15, 20-page recipe book and everybody freaks out because they're overwhelmed. Because I even still had some people being like, there's not enough recipes on here. It's like, I understand. I know that because I want you to prep it. It's more just bulking everything up and then placing it into meals so you're eating the same like structure every single day, because simple is better. Like you just got to follow along
Right.
with what you're doing. And I that's how I lost weight, was just managing what I was eating, like portion controlling and being in a calorie deficit. But there are people in our gym that don't, they think they're eating a lot, especially the guys. Like the women, like yeah, like that's kind of like always a thing, but these guys are eating like 15, 1600 calories and thinking that it's okay. It's like, no. I
Right.
eat that. I eat that on a like a low day. Like that's low. And when you tell them like, oh, 2100, that should be the number that they're at. They almost like want to like throw themselves off of like their chair, like being like, dude, that's a lot. Like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to lose weight. And that was like a specific time. This guy had a 6-pack, but he was like 25% body fat. I'm like, dude, how is that even possible? But whatever.
Wow.
And yeah, it must be nice. But he said, like, I don't feel comfortable. Like I know that this is like not where I am, but he was eating like 1700 calories a day, if not like 1300 on some days. It's like, dude, you gotta eat more. And I remember him looking at me
Right.
like, that's why would I do that? I'm like, because you're not fueling your body. You're coming here to work out like for an hour and a half. And then you're probably burning, because he moves way faster than everybody else in our group, even like when he first started. But like he's pushing himself hard. And you're telling me you're not even replenishing what you're burning, so you're not really losing any weight. And like educating them and like sitting down and being like, hey, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to do this. And now he's like at 17% body fat, and he's eating way more than he ever has. It's like
Crazy, isn't it?
crazy how that works. Yeah, like crazy how that works. Every day, I'm like, that's how. I was like, that's almost like you guys. If you listen to me, maybe you'll see the changes that you want to see. And I know some of the clients listen to this, so they're gonna probably be like, oh, she's definitely talking about us, and which is cool, like that they're actually listening to it, because I do get some feedback on like certain episodes. They're like, oh, I listened to that. That was actually pretty good. I'm like, oh, thanks. I'll be like, okay, like they're listening. Like maybe I should tone it down a little bit on what I'm saying. But it's just, it comes full circle. Like if they trust you, they're willing to make the effort to change their habits, but not do this whole yo-yo thing.
Right. I'm not saying take more time if you have stuff going on, but I mean, you're more knowledgeable than me on it, so it's like that example, like they're not eating enough to where like metabolic adaptation to where you build them up, and then to where they're eating well. I mean, they're in a deficit, yes, but like in my head, like the way I kind of like process it is like, yes, they're eating much less, but it's almost like survival mode. Like they're like whatever they take in, like it's just like what they're taking in, to where it's like, but when you see the clients, like that person you're talking about, like when they up their calories and they're eating much more and they start to lose weight, it's probably a good feeling, I imagine. But also, like when you talk to people, like how do you communicate with them? Like they think they're like, I have to eat so much more, like, but it's like, I guess, like how do you have that buy-in from them to do that?
It's tough because you also have to put yourself in their shoes too, in a way where like, okay, how am I going to speak to this person without them feeling offended? Because that's also a thing too. And I minored in psychology at school to be able to kind of compare the two together and like understand, like, hey, I've gone through the same thing that a lot of people have gone through that come through the door. So it's easier for me to kind of relate and be like, hey, like I was 70 pounds heavier at one point in my life. Now I'm not anymore. But they don't expect me to say that. They think that I've been like in this shape my whole life. It's like, no, like this is not who I've been my whole life. So relating to it and then not overwhelming them has been like a big thing. Because with that guy, it was fine because I just kind of sat there and told him like, hey, that's his personality too. Like, no, you have to do this shit. Otherwise, you're not going to see change. There's other people with the women. It's like, okay, I'm not going to tell them they have to eat 1,800 calories after they've just been eating 1,200. It's like, okay, they're not going to do that. Like, it's just with those conversations, like, okay, like let's start with 14. Let's add like an extra 200 calories, see how the body goes. Because their mind is like, oh, I'm not losing weight, I'm going to eat less. It's like, no, that's not how that works. Because they're already eating 1,200 calories. And yes, like during our like 6-week challenges, it gets tough because they're trying to lose a lot of weight at one time. So they will go as low as that, but also telling them in a non-scientific way, like your body is in survival mode. It's going to hold on to fat. So it's going to burn through your muscle. It's not going to burn through your fat, without sounding like this, scientific-y, like your PR and your TDE and all that other stuff. It's just, hey, like you're also in your 50s, 60s. Like you're not supposed to be eating the way that you were when you were like in your 20s. Like you can't. And also a lot of people drink. So their thing is like, hey, like, yeah, I drink. I'm like, okay, like how much do you really drink? And it's not like one every weekend. It's like 12 to 13 like every weekend. It's like, okay, that's a little aggressive. Like I'm not partying the way that you guys are partying, but that's a little, or it's like a bottle of wine. It's like, okay, that's a lot. Like you're not really understanding. Once they kind of lean off of that stuff, they don't see that until it happens. So and I'm also not a believer of cutting everything out like right away. It's like, okay, Joe and I, like we always just joke around about it, but throwing everything out of your cabinet before the day of the challenge starts, you're still gonna be like fixated on that. So I always tell people, like, take it easy. If your bad habit is sweets, like tone it down, but like slowly cut it out of your diet, not this whole like, okay, you're not eating that for 6 weeks, and then your brain every time you see her, like, I want to eat that so bad, because that's how the mind kind of tricks you. And the same thing with coffee too. People put sugar, cream, and all that other stuff in coffee, and they're drinking their calories. It's the same shit. Nobody really sees that until you sit them down. It's like, yeah, I have creamer in my coffee. I'm like, okay, but how much are you really putting in it? Oh, I go to Starbucks. It's like, okay, so you don't really know what they're putting in it. And it's like 300 calories for a drink at Starbucks if you don't customize it to a way that is not as many calories as it is, like when you just order it. And just for the one lady in the beginning, she's like, I don't think I could drink coffee without my cream and sugar. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to do that. And I did it because I literally told her every week, just slowly like decrease the amount that you're putting in. And then like see, like, okay, like I'm getting used to the taste of this. And now she just drinks her coffee black, which is insane because I can't drink my coffee black, but she can. I just can't. But I also, you know, this is probably like my bad habit, and other than that, nothing else. But right now, you know, just having like seeing that too is rewarding. Like, of course, like the weight loss journeys and everything else, but you know, seeing people beat like a little thing that's been like nagging at them for years, like a decade or something, that they finally jumped over and like leaped over and said like, okay, I beat this. Like, this was a goal that I've had for 10 years, and now I overcame it, which is, that to me is like rewarding in itself. It's just like so small, but to them it's not small. That now her habit is like, I don't drink my calories anymore. I'm drinking water. I'm drinking my coffee black, and I'll have like electrolyte packet like once a day or something, and that's it. So that's like kind of that's like just making people feel comfortable in the space, like making them feel like you're listening to them and understanding like where they're coming from and what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Because I like all these people have kids. I don't have kids, so I don't know. Like, some of them have 3 or 4 kids that they're under the age of 10, and they're somehow to go to the gym. So, you know, I can't sit there and tell them like, oh, like you can make time to do this, because they're probably throwing them in like 15 different sports, and they're running around, and the closest thing that's near to their house is McDonald's. Like, that's the only thing that they could grab, because they don't have the energy to cook at the end of the day. So it's just making them see like, hey, like even if you go out to eat, like just find the better alternative. Like, don't just binge out and grab whatever. Like, just try your best to eat something that's relatively healthier on the menu. That's what I always do. I never cut anything out. It was more just, if it's there, if I'm going out with somebody and I'm like, okay, like let's go to Chick-fil-A or something, I know I'm not going to get like the really heavy stuff, because it's also not going to feel good for me at the end of the day. Like, I know myself. So I'll have a grilled chicken sandwich. It's not going to kill me. So just telling them that, it's like, oh, she understands where I'm coming from. So I think that has helped me out in that one-on-one session of like relatively just speaking to them like normal people, but like relating with them and understanding like, hey, like I understand where you're coming from. What can we do to help this like habit and continue to grow and be better, and like not focus on, oh, I don't have time, I have all this stuff going on. Like, what can we do to make your life easier, you know?
Right. Yeah, the small changes, I think, from experience, like it seems like some people just want to go, you know, just full bore of, all right, I want to start lifting 5 days a week, wake up at 5 a.m. and like, it's like, just slow down. Yeah. Like, even if like you just, people are like how many days a week you think you should train? I'm like, you're just starting. Like, even if you just did 2, like I think more is better type thing. And I get it. And it's like, then they'll nutrition wise, like just go bodybuilding 101, chicken, broccoli, rice, nothing enjoyable, but it's like, it's not sustainable. So it's like the coffee example. Like, I tell people, if you drink coffee, like you have creamer or sugar, like take 1 out. Like, it's like those calories each day, if you add them up and then you took it out, that's several hundred to whatever it is, several thousand, whatever it may be, is that much less than what you were intaking. So it's like small changes. I feel like it's not as overwhelming, like you said, and like they can see the small change type thing, just like a big on just like a slow cook. Like, it's going to take much time. Like, it's not going to be overnight. Especially like just starting out, like you see no results, and then like, you just got to hang in there type thing. So small changes are the best way to go.
Yeah. And even I have a really bad sweet tooth too. So I tell everybody when they're talking to me about it, I'm like, oh, me too. Like I'm not going to sit here
Oh,
and
yeah.
tell you that I'm this perfect person. I will not. And I make that joke all the time. I'm not eating chicken, broccoli, and rice every day. Like I'm not that person. That's not who I am. Well, and all of us as coaches, like at our gym, like we go get tacos every once in a while. We go do like little things
Yeah,
like
live in moderation.
and we tell them all the time, we're like, yeah, we're talking about food more than we're doing like the work and like training, like with you guys. Like we'll talk more about food in the training session sometimes. And they're like, you guys got that today? I'm like, yeah. What's the problem? Like we're normal people. We can eat whatever we want sometimes. And it's
Right.
just making them see that we're not these like robots. Like we're people.
Right.
Like we have like cliche, but like one life. Like I'm not gonna sit there and like not go out and grab a drink or two or three. Like I'm not gonna do that. I'm also not gonna tell them that I don't do that, you know? So it's like relating is like full circle with the clientele. And that's why at the end of the day, that's why they're coming to like your gym or to like us. It's like, okay, they're real. They're not these like people on social media that you really can't tell if they're being honest or if they're not being honest because they're promoting a product that probably doesn't work at all. So
Right.
that's where it comes down to. And I think even like growing up when YouTube was really big, like when I was watching YouTube videos all the time about people training and like working out and losing weight, like what I eat in the days, like little things like that. There was a lady that was vegan and she was promoting like raw food, like don't eat anything cooked. And I remember there was so much backlash because people were gaining weight because she was putting out like eat all this like fruit and vegetables and like whatever. And she was cycling probably like I don't even remember what the statistic was, but she was like cycling a lot. So she was burning so much that she had to eat that much versus other people that are living a sedentary lifestyle. See her, she's like six pack with abs and doing whatever. They're not seeing the same results as she is, but they paid for it. So that's where it's so insane that people will just listen and not realize like, okay, their activity level is so different than my activity level. And I'm going to just do this because she looks great. So if she's eating like that, I'm going to look like that.
Right. Yeah, it's just not how it goes. And then, but if the person's leaving that information out, like all that activity, it's like, well, this is why I can do this.
Just making money. And like there was another coach too that she got sued and which is so crazy. Like I worked with her for a little bit when I first started and it never happened to me. She was completely fine with me, but she had like these weekly check-ins and she wouldn't answer people like giving her weekly check-ins. So she would charge like $200 a month for all her online clients, but she would never reach out to see how they're doing. And then it turned into a trickle effect. Like she kept charging these people when they were canceling, and it was like a big thing.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
It's just insane. Like people won't realize that, money talks. And if they don't really care about you, they care about the money. They're not going to care what you think or what you do unless like action happens. And she had like 500,000 followers on Instagram at that point. So you're not really thinking. You're just like selling people this program and you're not doing shit for it. And that's what frustrates me the most. It's, people are complaining about, oh, I could go to LA Fitness or a Planet Fitness and spend like $20 to $60 a month. It's like, yeah, you can, but you're here. Like, why are you here? Because you've done that before. Like, I want to help you. I'm not here to like take your money and peace out. Like, the goal is for you to come in for the hour every other day or whatever your schedule is and enjoy what you're doing and like actually learn better habits and so forth and so on. Like you're investing in yourself. You're not doing this for anybody else. If you don't want that, I'm not going to tell you like you have to do it. Like I'm forcing you to do it. So that's where, the conversations on the sales side, we don't really get a lot of, people that be like, oh no, we're not doing this. Cause we're fortunate enough, like our area is kind of what you get is what you're paying for. That's like, this is what you're doing. So, for you, do you feel like you have that conversation with people sometimes where it's like, oh, this is really expensive. Like, I don't think I'm going to do it. Like, how do you kind of combat that in like a sales setting for yourself when it comes to like a client?
I'd say, I mean, I want like the welcoming feeling, like speaking with them and things like that. And then also it was hard for me, like selling myself. Cause I was like in the beginning, like, am I being this like boastful, like whatever it is. But no, it's like sharing experiences that I can relate to them on too as well. And also, like whether athlete wise or whatever it is, and also like my experiences um throughout my career to where it's like I have been places, I've had, this resume built up for this reason to where, the results show that type of thing. I've been fortunate not to really like have like too much pushback. And also I try and like the relationships are obviously important to all of us, but it's like even like one of the high schools I work with, like I told the coach, like, you want this, it's gonna be this much. To where it was I believe I built that relationship enough to where we're we're tight and we know what each other is about to where I didn't really have much pushback on it. But
Yeah.
well maybe actually no. In the beginning, he's like, actually, let me see about it. And then they did a fundraiser and then they did it. So like that was important to me to where, they trusted me to where I can give for the kids that they'll have this fundraiser to be able to have this training done. So, but it's
I like that.
yeah, it's like the money part is just, it's like not just a cookie cutter program. Like it's going to
Right.
be individualized to you. And then, it's once they start to see the results, it's just kind of a steady flow from there.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, so it's nothing like too crazy, I would say. If they do have, obviously, I'm more than welcome to questions. Like I love to be asked questions, and it's like then I can explain to them, whatever ABC type thing.
Mhm.
So, but it's it's also just starting out, like also like not to being the level I want to. And I know, I mean, I've raised prices before and things like that, which can be a harder thing to
Yeah.
communicate with clients.
Yeah.
But and at some point I'll do it again. But it's also having the relationship built and also just being able to let people walk if they don't want to do it.
Mhm.
So it's just, I'm not going to try and just blow smoke and just, just to try and get you here. But it's like, this is who I am. This is what I provide. The reputation that I've built hopefully is, it gets stronger and stronger. But if it's just not for you, then I've had people walk before and that's fine. It's like to where I try and look to where it's okay. It can hurt in the beginning. At
Of course.
the same time, it's just like, just kind of like stick to your guns. Like, people will come along type thing. Just
I
keep
like.
doing better. So.
Yeah. Last question for you was, what do you feel like is the biggest takeaway for other people that are listening to this episode? Like, what do you want people to take away from this, from you specifically? And then we could kind of tie it in and close it out.
Yeah. For I'd say like younger coaches, have an open minded. It's kind of like I think of like a table. Like I was on one side of the table to where it's like this is the way things are. Like this is how it has to be done. Even from like exercise selection, like you got to have this, whatever it is. And now I feel like I'm on the other side of there is no staple exercise. You have to meet people. It's like you like back squats, that's great, but so and so is not good. It's not good for them. So have an open mind of there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat to where just kind of keep your mind open to those things that the person that you're especially working with, athlete, gen pop, whatever it is. Um, and just always be your own unique self. My Army West Point coach Connor Hughes, he's my mentor as well. He said, just always be your unique self and do that times 100. So, people will see you right through if you're trying to be somebody else. So I would say just always be who you are. It's, always be proud of who you are, that type of thing. And also just take risks. Like obviously like opening the gym, like it was a big risk and I knew, this is my life now, but it's what I wanted. There's people that will, and going through and like personal experience, like people will doubt you type thing. So, but you just have to take the risks. Like, and it's again, I'm very thankful to have a support system that I do. People say that you can't do it, then maybe you have to reevaluate your circle type thing. So
Yeah.
it's just take the risk. Lean on those there to support you. You might find yourself you're trying to prove those people wrong in the beginning, but then make that switch from that being your driver to go prove the people that believe in you, prove them right because they were always there in your corner type thing. So
I love that. And where can people connect with you on social media, and if they had any questions to ask you? you could say your Instagram handle or whatever, or your gym, obviously the name of your gym.
Yeah, we're on Instagram's the Armory at the Armory SC. Facebook is the Armory Strength and Conditioning. You might have to go to my name, Brennan Fleming, and there's the gym attached to it. And then just started the TikTok thing not too long ago, so that's just the Armory Strength and Conditioning. And then just the men's group I mentioned earlier on. It's called Brothers in Strength. So just that's up there on TikTok. No Instagram or anything. There's a Facebook group for that as well. So just trying to get it off the ground, help people another way. So, but I think that was all of them.
I'm gonna throw that on there, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So and then email was just thearmorystrength@gmail.com.
I love that. Yeah. I listen, I really do appreciate your time. Like this, obviously me and you have been going back and forth and trying to schedule this, but it really means a lot to me that you took the time out of your day to get on this with me and talk and get to know you a little bit more, and you getting to know me a little bit more. And I'm hoping that everybody else enjoys this episode too, and looking forward to the next one. But I appreciate everything. So I thank you for that.